Hi, Mary Baxter here with episode 14 in my Akashic Records series. And today I'm going to talk about changing our soul contracts. So can we change our soul contracts? Earlier in the series, we talked about a variety of soul contracts and agreements that we make even before we incarnate, and that we also do make new contracts and agreements with other people and therefore their souls during our lifetimes. So of course we can change our soul contracts. And if we keep in mind the idea that we are one with our souls, we're not separate, we are one, we are the physical human of our soul. And so we can make change and alter contracts in between lifetimes and when we're here, so we can change them right now. And sometimes this is really necessary. So how can we change these contracts and agreements? Well, first of all, always connect in light when you're looking at this soul level of your awareness. And then identify the nature of the contract, which is going to be very much what's happening in your own physical life with the individuals you're in relationship with through family, marriage, children, business, friendship, whatever it is. You identify it and identify who else is involved. And then, am I involved? This is a really important thing to consider, because very often we can think something involves us when it's really not involving us at all. It involves other people. We can have some influence, but it is not our contract and agreement to deal with. So if we don't like what's happening with another family or other people's business, it's not our business at this level. So you want to make sure just don't waste your time trying to, butt into somebody else's business. To identify the contract, just look at your physical life. If you have an issue with a very, very good friend, you have a soul contract of friendship. And just like you have that agreement or that friendship in your human interactions. Same thing with marriage, same thing with business, situations of mutual support. These are all contracts and agreements. And you want to look at how you feel about it and consider if you can be neutral, because you don't want to go through the process I'm going to give you if you're in a really agitated state, such as really sad or grieving or angry. Wait until you're in a more neutral state to deal with the situation. Then you can ask, is it time to end or change the contract? Think about this. How does the situation need to change for you? Is it over? Is it complete? Or is it possible to work things out by making some modifications to what is happening? Signals that it's time for change involve any relationships that are based on manipulation and control. And this means whoever's in the manipulation and control position. It doesn't matter if you are in a position of manipulating somebody else and trying to control them. It would be wise to back out of that type of behavior because it's so negative karmically. Any relationships that cause physical, mental, emotional stress these are signals that you're being given, the stress, that tell you it's time to make changes. Being in apathy or blah over something, or always being in extremes. Again, these are signals for change. And so if you're feeling you really want to change something that you've been very committed to, because this is what contracts are like, such as marriage contracts, business contracts, it's a really big deal. And if you're feeling these things, that's why. Then the process I want to give you is to write some things down on paper. And so it can be a little slip of paper. It does not have to be anything major. And you describe the contract. What is the contract? Is the contract my relationship? What is it? You write it down. You write about how you have fulfilled your part, because there's something going on in our contracts and agreements. You don't want them to be one-sided, and sometimes there are those kinds of issues. Definitely one-sided arrangements are not balanced and need to be changed. So you look at how I have fulfilled my part. If I feel others have not fulfilled their part, I can write that down. Or if I feel they have, and we've reached a point where everyone has fulfilled their part in the contract, and we write this down. Then you take responsibility for your part in the contract, and you speak that to your divinity and the other souls involved. You can speak it out loud, you can write it down, you can think it, but basically you're putting your cards on the table. This is where I'm at in this relationship or this situation, and this is the way what I've done and why I feel it either needs to change in these ways or it needs to end. And you take that step of communicating through your thoughts. Then, if there's any question or anywhere along the way here, you can of course use muscle testing or pendulum dowsing to check on things, to be sure that you're making the most correct choices, and to make sure you're even correct, to be doing this sort of thing. And when you feel complete, you have written what you need to. It's on your piece of paper. You've communicated this from your soul to the other souls involved and to whatever your level of divinity, your communication is, whatever that is, right? This is not a religious experience, but it is a spiritual one. And then you take this paper and you burn it. And you watch it as it crumbles in the flame and goes up in smoke and becomes part of the unseen world. Then you want to bless all concerned. This is a very important piece, the blessing of all concerned. And I mention that because this is not vindictiveness. This is an easing in of change coming through the unseen realms, right? Your thoughts, the energy, and you are bringing it now into your life. You have now changed your part of the contract. The other person or other people involved in this contract have not changed their part. This is something you have done, and you have taken this step at your soul level. You have changed your part. And this shift in your energy can then move into your actions, what you do next to make this a reality. And this changes your reality. How you act with others that you've been in this contract with changes the whole situation. Next week, watch for episode 15. Here we're going to look at the darkness. What about darkness? What about evil and negativity? What is light? What is darkness? And is evil real? And the Akashic Records have really some fascinating information on this subject. So I look forward to seeing you then. and have a reading with me or take a course in learning to read the Akashic Records, my contact information is right here.